camera on, please turn it on. For those that are seeing us on YouTube or live on another channel, I want to welcome you because you're just as important as well. Excuse me. Today we're going to talk about, excuse me, the 100 grams of protein fix, right? We want to talk about how you can hit your target without 100% living on chicken, right? We don't have to eat chicken all the time, and chicken is everywhere. So I'm going to start by saying something that might feel a little uncomfortable, but it's the truth today. Are we ready? Yeah. Most people don't lose their health suddenly, you guys. They lose it slowly, they lose it quietly, and it's one undernourished day at a time. Again, you don't suddenly lose your health. You don't suddenly bend down and stand up and you hurt your back. It is not a sudden scenario. And right now, one of the biggest reasons that I see people aging faster, losing muscle, losing hair, they don't have the energy to function, and they're sliding towards chronic disease, right? I'm saying like they're slowly sliding in with their labs because they're not nourishing their body appropriately. But the number one thing that isn't happening is they're not eating enough protein, right? And it's not because you guys don't care. It's not because my patients don't care and the loved ones around me don't care. It's not because you're lazy, right? But it's really because nobody's probably ever taught you how to fuel your body that is under stressed, aging, healing, or coming off diets or medication, right? Nobody's ever taught you how to fuel it appropriately. If you have high blood sugar, let's give you metformin if you are diabetic. Or even let's give you a natural herb. It's still a supplement. Let's give you berberine. Let's give you a glucose balance PX that might have bitter melon in it, right? So before I teach anything, I want to ask you, I asked this before we started to those. So those of you that already answered, thank you for sharing. I want honesty and not perfection here. How many grams of protein, and just think about it before you answer, how many grams of protein did you eat yesterday? And how many have you had today so far? So I know where the audience is at. Anybody? The one that's in the chat right now is in the one that in the chat before we got started. I know it takes time to kind of type in there, so I'll wait a few minutes for you guys to pop in. I really don't know, not enough. Thank you for being honest. I love that. 75 grams yesterday with a protein powder. Okay, great. Awesome. So now you're starting to be aware. I really want you to start to think about like how much protein is coming at me, right? Like how much am I eating? Another way I'm going to give you guys a little specialty is if you look at your nails and you have half moons on your nails, right? It's hard for you to see mine, but I do have half moons on every nail on both hands. Look and see what you have. That's the protein status in your body. So if you have it on your thumb and your forefinger, great, but your other parts of your body like are not getting protein. There are some patients that come in with one or two, some patients that come in with three, but very rarely do I see all five nails with half moons on them. That's an idea of your protein status. Does that make sense? And you can look at this consistently for yourself, right? So, what I want to share with you is protein's not a trend. It's not even a diet strategy. It's really, and I want you to get out of, or please, I shouldn't say I want you to be like bossy, but I want you to think about getting out of a diet strategy, that diet mentality. I want you to not think about, I can't eat this, I can't eat that, I can't have that, I don't have this, I don't have this, right? It's not about that. However, if your body's crying out with a rash, if you have a cardiovascular disease, then let's take the action to heal that. And it's not because you can never have sugar again, for example, right? Because we know sugar is a cholesterol problem, sugar is inflammatory. And I truly believe all of our metabolic challenges and chronic disease start with sugar and inflammation, even cancer, right? So, protein, you need it as a metabolic requirement, and it keeps you on stabilize. It keeps you to stabilize your blood sugar. Sorry, I said that wrong. It helps you stabilize your blood sugar, right? And I'm not here to motivate you. I'm here to change the trajectory of your health. So let me explain to you what is actually happening in the body, right? I want to share with you what actually happens when you're, for example, let's say that your intake and your protein is too low. Your body is choosing between two states. It's as simple as that, but it feels very hard to you, doesn't it? Yeah. Your body's either building or breaking down. It's either building your muscle or it's breaking down. If we want to get clinically, we got anabolic and catabolic, right? And so if you don't get enough protein, your body does not wait patiently. It needs to keep going. It needs to keep functioning. It's going to go into a catabolic, which it's going to break down your muscle tissue. It needs to do that to survive, right? Your body's intelligent and it needs to survive. So it's going to do everything that it knows how to do to function. So muscle is not aesthetics, even though you're like, you look at people like, I remember we were just at a show in Boston and my sister and mom and I were looking up and it was Cirque du Soleil for those of you that see it. And I remember looking at the back muscles of this gentleman that was holding, I guess you call it some sort of tightrope or string. Sorry, I'm not a dancer, so I don't know it. And his muscles were amazing. His back, you could see every muscle behind his shoulders. And it was very fascinating, right? But it's not about aesthetics. For him, it was strength to hold and to do what he needed to do. Your muscle is your metabolic reserve. It's your largest organ. We used to think it was the skin, but it's your largest organ and it is your best anti-aging longevity organ. So if you're thinking anti-aging, let's look at muscle because it's going to provide you with amino acids for organ function. It's going to stabilize your blood sugar. It's going to protect you against aging. Insulin sensitivity. Remember, pancreas releases insulin. You get insulin resistance before you end up with blood sugar imbalances, prediabetes and diabetes, right? That's kind of the level that you're going at. And it also helps you have resilience during stress and illness. So, guess what happens when your muscle is actually lost? Your metabolism is going to slow down, inflammation is going to rise, and disease risk increases. I don't know about you, but I don't want that in my life. So, this conversation isn't about weight loss, it's about functioning so your body can function with longevity and have the best longevity that it's meant to have. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So, I want to share a personal story that just happened today. So, I just got my hair done this morning, and my hairdresser said something to me that stopped me in my tracks. And she knows I'm a naturopath. I've been seeing her for years. She said to me, I am seeing so much hair loss in people that are taking GLP-1s. I really wanted to try it, but I don't like the side effects that I'm seeing in the hair because she's a hair professional. So I shared with her, I had been sharing what I was doing because we get excited. We talk about what's going on. And I was sharing that I really wanted to help so many people to get their metabolism reset so that we're not, whether we're on a GLP-1 or not, because this is still helpful. I don't want you to have to be on that for life, right? So she had an entirely different perspective when I shared with her what GLP-1s were actually doing. She believed they were muscle wasting. She believed that they were causing hair loss. She believed all that until I shared with her, no, not really. What's actually happening that we talked about a couple times ago is it slows your digestion down, and many people aren't hungry. When many people aren't hungry, they're just grabbing food. And often they're grabbing a carbohydrate, right? It's not about the medication that's causing the hair loss. It's that undernourishment that's happening. Your hair, your skin, your nails, they're not luxury tissues. When protein is low, the body diverts to survival. It's not going to think about appearance. So, hair loss is not a failure. It's actually a signal to the body that there's something wrong. You're not feeding it the right amount of amino acids that it actually needs to function. So drop hair in the chat if you've ever noticed your hair thinning, brittle nails, I can even tie it to muscle weakness or slow recovery. Has anybody experienced that? Yeah. Thank you for being so active, Nikki. This is what gets you guys to learn. So I love, I'm not judging anybody, but yeah, slow recovery. Slow recovery. Yeah, because you're not feeding the body what it actually needs. And that's what I'm here to share with you, right? Because it's so imperative that you find a plan for yourself. So I want to pause here for a moment. If what I just said about muscle and hair loss and underfueling really hit you, this is not something for you guys to think about later because every single day if you were staying undernourished, your body doesn't pause, especially during the busy holiday season. It's going to adapt and it does not adapt in your favor. So this is how I see people quietly move towards insulin resistance, pre-diabetes, diabetes, osteopenia, osteoporosis, thyroid, cardiovascular, chronic fatigue. I could go on and on and on, as well as accelerated cognitive decline, Alzheimer's/dementia. You guys, it's not happening overnight. It's not dramatically, but it's gradual through loss of muscle, through loss of metabolic flexibility, and loss of nourishment. I want that to sink in. And here's the part that I care the most about. You don't prevent these diagnoses by thinking harder, by Googling more, or by saying, I'm going to start tomorrow. I'm going to start on January 1st. I'm going to start in June to get our summer body ready. I'm going to start in September after my kids go back to school and my season starts. And guess what? The cycle starts all over again. Guess how you prevent this? By having a real strategy, blueprint, and plan. One that tells you your body, when your body is safe, your cortisol repletes back to normal. And it's supported and nourished. So if you're sitting here thinking right now, this is me, then this is your moment. Team, if you can drop the calendar link in the chat, I'd be so forever grateful. It's not later, it's not after the holidays, and it's not when life calms down because physiology does not wait for you to get ready. It does not wait for you to get motivated. It doesn't even wait for you to get sick. And the longer that you stay unsupported, the more that your body adapts towards survival instead of health. Again, the longer that you stay unsupported, just thinking about it, Googling it, thinking I can figure it out, the more your body adapts towards survival. I'm hoping you guys are getting that because it's not about being perfect. It's about changing the trajectory of your health for yourself, for your loved ones, for your legacy before a diagnosis. And if you have a diagnosis, before a stronger diagnosis, after a stronger diagnosis, and then you're taken. If you don't want you, let me say something. Do you wait until your house burns down to create an exit plan? No, I hope you get out. You don't wait until a disease shows up to protect your body. So why are you waiting? So as I'm going through this today, please take out a pen and paper because this is what matters most. I was reading this morning because I always read. I read my 20 pages to learn because I have a growth mindset. I love to learn and I want to teach all of you. And you know what came across? Like God is good because this is what he gave to me today without me even asking it. Do you know in the United States that at over the age of 60 that 95% of us have at least one chronic disease? I went, "Wait, what? Did I read that wrong?" It's in the Super Agers book. And then 79%, you guys, not just 3%, not 10%, not 15, but 79% have two or more. I don't want that to be you. But you get to ask that yourself, is this going to be me? Because chronic disease doesn't just start at 60. It starts with the habits, the nourishment, how you're feeding your body, how you're showing up right now. Type health in the chat if you're ready to change the trajectory of your health right now. I want to see you. Yes, you see it every day in cardiology. Here's somebody here that's in cardiology. It can be turned around, you guys. I just want you to hear that for a minute. 90% of our population in the United States of America, where we have everything, is chronic disease. It's awful. It's, we don't live in a third world country, you guys, right? So I am here to help you. One of my colleagues that I was talking to this morning on my way to get my hair done, it's a team, they're incredible personal trainers. They shared something with me today that hit really hard. And I heard it. And I know it, but I heard it even stronger. Willpower leaves you in a hurry. Your mind is going to talk you out of healing faster than anything else. You're going to justify, you're going to make excuses tomorrow, next week, after the holidays. One last question, a very similar question, right? Willpower is not there to save you. Strategy and setting up your day every single day, setting up your calendar. Many of you heard me say, if it's not on my calendar, I don't do it. So, how much longer are you willing to delay the legacy of your health? Because you know what? Every tomorrow has a cost. And I hope you're done with postponing your health. So let's go on. Now that my energy in that, I hope you heard it though, because it saddens me and I see it at the clinic every day. So why is 100 grams of protein in a female to 140 grams of protein basis in a man about approximately is the metabolic minimum? For most adults, especially I would say anyone over the age of 30 to 35, under stress, like some stress is good, not all stress is bad. We throw stress around like it's all bad. Healing metabolism, on or off, coming off of GLP-1s, it's not even 100 grams, isn't even high enough or often have enough for your body to function. It is, please hear this, it's the foundational amount for your body to function. When we start to go below this level, now remember, this is on a daily basis. I should have been clear with it. This is on a daily basis in divided doses. Below this level, what I see is fatigue, exhaustion, go hand in hand, muscle loss. Some of you put recovery in here, muscle recovery. Those sugar cravings where you're calling out like, sugar, I want sugar. Where are most potato chips? I want some rice tonight. Let me have some more pasta. That's food noise. Then you've got your blood sugar instability when we don't have enough protein. and then we slow our metabolism down. Because if we don't have enough amino acids, which are the building blocks in protein, our metabolism slows down. When we have now that's the low level, right? When we have the right amount at or above this level, our energy is stronger, our hunger hormones are regulated, we have the muscle that we need, that we get to keep working out, like we need muscle building and resilience, and then our aging slows. So this, you guys, is the baseline that allows everything in your body to function appropriately. So let me ask you this. Do you sense, if you're a female, that 100 grams of protein feels achievable? Or does it feel overwhelming? And if you're a male on here, 140 grams, achievable or overwhelming. So if it's achievable, I should say, instead of spelling that all out, drop an A in the chat. Or if it feels overwhelming, so that I can see where people are at, drop an O in the chat. Great, achievable. Anybody else? Achievable. So A, achievable, O, overwhelming. 100 grams for women, females, and 140 grams or more for male. Okay. So I want to talk about protein without constantly living on chicken. Because the truth is chicken is everywhere. And I'm not sure how clean chicken is these days. Right? Protein does not mean that you have to eat chicken 3 times a day. And I'm going to go over in just a bit how we can break down breakfast, lunch, and dinner, right? Examples of protein that can really be fantastic. Here's some ideas so I can get to start for you to think about protein, remember? Because protein is one macronutrient. Our other ones are carbs and fats. And I can tell you carbs are overeaten, and many of you know how to eat carbs, but many of us don't know how to eat the protein and the healthy fats. So we can look at fishes, like how about salmon, halibut, haddock. I'm not a sardine lover, but many people love sardines, right? Sardines are fantastic. You could look at cottage cheese. How about Greek yogurt? And that means you are do okay with dairy, right? Also, eggs are fantastic and they're easy. We can add in beans and lentils, but we have to do it strategically because they don't have the exact amino acid building blocks, sorry, I said that wrong, that your body needs. And then we can add protein powders in as tools, not to replace foods, but I call it like a crutch with my patient, right? So this is where teaching the strategy that I talked about above when we first got started, this matters more than motivation. Setting up your meals so that you know meal by meal how to hit 100 grams to what your ideal body weight is, say 130 grams of protein a day. It's not about eating more food and eating more calories. It's about eating the right building blocks so that your body stops breaking itself down, right? When we talked about catabolically breaking it down. Is this making sense? Okay, great. So here's some breakfast ideas. Breakfast, I will tell you, is always the hardest for patients because especially in America, we've gotten used to, until you get out of the habit, you've gotten used to grabbing a muffin, grabbing a Danish, grabbing a donut, grabbing a piece of toast, those sorts of things. And there's not that nourishment. And those of you that are wanting to get your metabolism back on track and maybe lose the body fat that you're holding on to, you want to eat within 30 minutes to an hour of waking, and you want it to be a protein-based meal. And most people miss the mark at breakfast. Breakfast is what helps you stabilize your blood sugar all day long. So if breakfast is low in protein or even just carbohydrate driven, then your day can become a blood sugar and cortisol mess. Okay. It can do it for a period of time, but many of us haven't been doing it for a period of time if we haven't been focused on protein. We've been doing it more than 10 years or so. And I cannot tell you, I just had a new patient on Wednesday. I don't eat breakfast, she said. I want to lose weight. She's got cardiovascular disease. Her triglycerides are through the roof, right? She holds that cortisol belly. I'm not having judgment here. I'm just sharing. And she's like, I just can't eat breakfast. You can or you won't. You got to retrain you because your body has been trained. We are habitual people. We have to break the habit into a better habit that makes us healthier. Okay. So here are some ideas that you can think about for breakfast. I often, believe it or not, laugh at me, and I actually have patients laughing with me now, and they share with me. But I actually will eat like a vegetable soup with like turkey meatballs that I have cooked, or I'll have like lamb meatballs, or I'll have different meatballs in the winter. And because it's cold here, right? It's stormy even today. Like I love to heat up soup and eat some protein. But for me, I don't do well with starches, so they never have any noodles in them. They never have rice. They don't have quinoa. It's literally just vegetables. And then I pick my protein meatball. That's one option, right? Just one. Another one is egg, like maybe one or two eggs plus like three egg whites. Or you could do the half cup to one egg white, 1 cup of egg whites. I just don't love those egg whites that are in containers. I don't know why. They just don't feel natural to me. So yes, I will break the egg, use the egg white, throw the egg yolk away. Greek cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, 1 to 1.5 cups. And you can put some seeds on it. You can put some walnuts on it. You can put berries on it. That is a great way, and it's not difficult. And you could even make them in cups so that you just grab it and you sit down and you have your tea and you eat your yogurt, right? You could even do a cottage cheese bowl if you wanted to with some veggies. You could put some olive oil, some veggies, whatever that looks like. But cottage cheese, like I mentioned earlier, has really good protein. And then, yes, really, you could have leftover dinner that you had the night before, if there's any leftovers, or cook more for you and your family. So you have leftovers in the morning of your protein and your vegetable and your healthy fat, right? If you can tolerate tofu, tofu doesn't affect the thyroid. Tofu doesn't cause cancer. It doesn't do any of that. It's very good for particular blood types, especially A blood types. I can't do it. I don't feel good on it, right? I'm an O blood type, and I really like work around that as well. But tofu is very good for you if it works for you. So you could do like a tofu scramble with veggies. Or maybe you could do oats, like like oatmeal. And don't do the quick one or whatever it's called. Like, what is it called? Just buy real real oatmeal and cook it. I think it's like fast cooking or something. I don't even know the name of it, sorry. But I think you know what I mean. Um, and then add in protein powder and seeds. So once you take it off the stove, after you've made your real oatmeal, not instant oatmeal, that's what I want, instant, it's not coming to me. Then take it off the stove and stir in your protein powder and add some seeds and berries. Like those are all ideas from you. You could do a protein smoothie, but again, you heard me say protein powders are a crutch. But you could do them. You could add in nut butters. You could do a piece of toast, some avocado, some spinach, and a poached egg. You could do scrambled eggs with veggies. So hopefully that's enough of a suggestion that I can think of off the top of my head that would work for you. Remember, breakfast protein. I want to sum this up before I go on to lunch. That breakfast protein 100% tells the cortisol to stand down and the metabolism to wake up. So breakfast is your best meal. So let me know who in the room right now, or even if you're listening to this recording, let me know when we post it on the community. Who eats mostly carbs or skips breakfast? Drop carbs or skip in the chat for me. Steel cut oatmeal, great. So what you might want to do with a steel cut oatmeal is have some scrambled eggs with that, or have an egg with it, or add the protein powder like we talked about. You can even add like nuts to get some protein in. You're a cottage cheese girl. I love that. Yeah, so let's see if we can rechange that mind, Nikki. See if we can start to like add in like breakfasts so that you can help support your protein, especially you mentioned you're in cardiovascular. Like that is so supportive and it's so easy. So thank you guys for sharing that. So let's go to lunch. So the target for lunch that I tell patients, remember, we're dividing this up in like three meals and like one snack to get the protein levels that we need. So high protein ideas for lunch could be like a large salad with 5 to 6 ounces of protein. Many of you were taught to eat 3 to 4 ounces of protein, but how are you going to hit the target of protein if you're not eating enough? Right? So we listed the protein above, but some of the ones I could think about would be like turkey, salmon, tuna as a last resort. You got to be careful of tuna unless you're getting a really good quality source because it does have mercury in it. A shrimp could be another option, steak, right? And when I say salmon, I say wild salmon. When I say any fish, I say wild, not farm raised. When I say steak or turkey, like try to get organic grass fed because then we know there's no hormones pumped up in it. That's a whole nother conversation, but this just to give you a little helpful hint. You could even do a grain bowl with protein as the anchor, right? So you could put proteins on the bottom, then you could veggies second, and then you could put grains on the side, but not as a base, right? So that would be, I would think of grains. If I was going to do that, I was thinking like quinoa, because quinoa is your grain, but it has the largest amount of protein in it. And then you could add like an olive oil based dressing and get your healthy fat in there. Remember, you are getting some healthy fat when you're eating the protein that you're eating. Lettuce wraps are another one that people love. They're super easy. They'll buy like, the Boston lettuce and it'll be a wrap and they'll put some other veggies in it and then they'll put like taco meat or some sort of meat or even a curry or fish and it'll be a lettuce wrap so they're not eating a sandwich. Um, and then another lunch would be similar to what I talked about for breakfast would be a soup plus protein and vegetables, right? So you could do your bone broth, your vegetables, and then your protein meat, right? So again, you could make your meal extra, whatever you made the night before, make it for lunch. I prefer not, I don't love doing leftovers. I like to prep my food and have it, and I like to have my lunch and dinner differently, but that's just my just how I personally brought myself up. I don't really love leftovers. So, but many people do and it's easy for you. So, as you begin to eat this way, I want you to start to be aware of did your energy dip in the afternoons, like say starting now? And then as you add in the protein, does your energy stop dipping in the afternoon? And because what happens is protein begins to stabilize your blood sugar. Okay, so dinner protein. Remember, dinner is very important because it protects your muscle overnight. So some high protein ideas for dinner would be very similar to lunch. 5 to 7 ounces of like a fish, like a salmon, a cod, a wild halibut, or like a beef, bison, buffalo, or a lamb. Turkey. You could do stir fries with extra protein, not extra rice, but extra protein and extra vegetables. How about a protein and vegetable sheet sort of pan meals? Like you could roast the vegetables and put the meat on it. You could do a burger without your bun with some vegetables or a salad. Um, Chili is really great for those of you that are in the colder weather because you're getting in some either red kidney beans or black kidney beans. I've seen it done all differently. The traditional chili that I'm familiar with the meat or the buffalo is more of a red kidney bean, but some people don't like those or don't do well with them, so they'll use like a black bean. So remember, beans are a support. They do have protein in them, but you don't want them to replace that really good amino acid. So your protein at dinner helps reduce your blood sugar drops in the middle of the night and muscle loss, and it helps you sleep more soundly. So if you're somebody that can't sleep, you want to think about, do I need more protein? Do I need more healthy fat? Or do I need more of a carbohydrate to sleep throughout the night? And this is what I do with patients. I'm working to figure it out, right? Like, what do you need to carry your blood sugar through the night? Now let's talk about snacks. Again, these are supports. These help you hit your targets, especially if you feel like you're flailing behind or if you're on a GLP-1 and you didn't feel as hungry to eat 5 ounces of protein, maybe you only felt like you could eat three because you felt full. Now you want to add in a snack that will help you hit that target. So they're very similar as what I've been talking about that are easy. So we can think about Greek yogurt. We could think about a protein shake. Nikki mentioned that she eats hard-boiled eggs. Those are really easy to grab. How about if you grab some pre-cooked turkey that's already in there, edamame beans, nuts. You want nuts to be portion controlled because nuts can actually add up quite quickly. I even have to admit I have to be careful with nuts. And then cheese if you do okay with dairy. So if your snacks are low protein, your cravings are always going to win. I've noticed that from working with patients. And then protein powders are going to be used for a crutch, for like, I might not have gotten enough, or in the beginning, I'm trying to learn, Dr. Donahue, how do I do 100 to 140 or 150, whatever your number is of protein. Maybe in the beginning, you need to use that protein powder. Make sure it doesn't have sugar, make sure it doesn't have fillers, make sure it's like quality. You want it to have, it's best used, you want it to have no fillers. It's best used for when you don't have a really strong appetite in the morning. So say you wake up and you're feeling like not hungry, you're feeling stressed, you're in the holidays, you got a lot to do. So having it in the morning would be a good way to start your day because at least you're getting your protein, right? And you can actually even drop like a tablespoon of almond butter or some nuts in there. The other crutch that you could help with this is you could do it before you go to a holiday party. Have a protein drink with some water, right? Another great time to use protein and even collagen as well, and even creatinine if you're trying to build muscle, is to use it post workout. So after you do your workout, it's actually really good for travel days. Like if you're traveling and you're not sure the sorts of meals that you're going to have on planes and things, planes, trains, and automobiles, and you're that sort of busy schedule, you could easily put the powder in your backpack or whatever you're carrying on the plane, and you could easily put it in water, or you could get some sort of liquid to put it in. So, I want you to pair the smoothies with food as much as possible. Like maybe you do it with some yogurt, maybe you put oatmeal in your smoothie, because they are support meals, but I don't want them to replace their nourishment. Like if I think about when I was a child, we didn't have protein powders. We didn't have all of these things that we have now. And I hear my mom say a lot, like when she was a kid, we didn't have all these gyms and everything, and they were healthy. They didn't have to work out all the time. They just literally moved their body. They walked to school, they worked on a farm, whatever it looked like for them, right? It was natural. So I always want you to lean into the foods when you can. You're going to always hear me say that. And these other pieces are a crutch. Does that make sense? Okay, great. So I am going to go over plant-based protein, but we use it strategically. Unless, of course, you're a vegetarian. Hopefully, you're more of a pescatarian. I'm able to take vegetarians and have them be a little bit more pescatarian and get some fishes in. But I understand from different values and whatnot. Plant protein can support your metabolism, but it's hard to do it full time. But I understand it's not possible because I know many vegetarians and vegans, but they've got to be very consistent and figure it out. So we're thinking about like lentils and black beans and chickpeas. Even some of them have tofu and tempeh and even edamame, like edamame is soybeans, right? So if you're not a vegetarian or vegan, because that's not the conversation that we're having now, it's best to combine these sorts of plant proteins as strategy with other animal proteins. Um, because you don't want to, if you're not vegetarian and vegan and consistent in what you're eating, like they really know, right? You don't want to rely on plants alone for 100 grams goals if that's where you're at. But we can always talk about that. The link is in the chat for my strategy call. Just feel free to jump on. So this is huge right now. I want to talk about protein rotation. You don't want to eat the same protein every day because it gets boring, and digestion issues, burnout. You never want to see that food ever again. You really want to rotate, right? Because it gives you different nutrient intake, it helps with your body, it improves digestion, like it's consistent. You want to move about the proteins, right? So again, if I think of an example, I want to break down like 100-calorie day. Can I do that? Okay, look, great. So realistically, breakfast could be eggs and egg whites, and you could get 30 grams, right? Lunch could be salad with a salmon, and you could get like 35 grams of protein. Dinner could be a protein like a turkey or a beef with vegetables, and you can hit 30 grams of protein. And then a snack for that could be like a Greek yogurt, and that's about 15 grams. So what did I say? 30, 30, 35, and 15. So that's like 110 grams of protein right there, right? So there's an idea about kind of how we stack out the protein. I wanted to do it meal by meal. And I know breakfast is always the biggest question. What should I eat with breakfast, Dr. Donahue, right? So remember, this is just an overview of protein. Your protein needs are going to change based on your stress levels, which includes workouts like hormones, what your muscle mass is, how strong your digestion is. It's also, I want to add in medications, including GLP-1s, and also what your lab markers are, right? So this is why guessing doesn't work. I hope that's making sense to you and that strategy matters because protein doesn't work alone. Longevity happens when your meals include protein for muscle and metabolism, vegetables that help your gut and give you the mineral nutrient status you need, and healthy fats, which help your hormones and they help your brain. This combination helps you stabilize your sugar, reduce cravings naturally, and build your muscle. That formula that I just gave you, protein, healthy fats, and vegetables, that's your anti-aging medicine. So why are we going all around looking for longevity and anti-aging? It's right here in front of us. By the time we gain weight, we move in an area, our brain's off, we have irritability, we have anxiety, we haven't treated our body the way that it should be treated. How many of you woke up this morning and thanked your body for it taking you through the day yesterday and that you're alive today? Because your body is there to help support you. I'm constantly thanking it. And then when it hurts, I'm like, oh gosh, what did I do to you? What didn't I feed you? What did I think about? Right? Because this is how physiology works. We got the physical, we got the mental, we got the spiritual. And then unfortunately, we have all the toxicity that's out in our environment. So I want to future cast with you for a minute. I want you to think about we're through the holidays, whatever that looks like for you. And I want to think about you to think about whatever your new year looks like for you, whether it's January 1st, whether we're looking like your new year's the end of January into February. So we've got different ones here. If you can, close your eyes for a moment and just stop and listen to your body. So I want you to feel like today is the new year. Today is your 2026. You didn't wing it. You didn't guess. You had a plan. You had emotional support from somebody that really understood where you're going. You heard and listened to your body. You gave your body the nourishment it needed. You figured out why you were exhausted. You're waking up with energy. Your cognition and brain feel clear. And you feel strong. You feel like you're living in a body that you love right now. And you're excited. You're no longer dragging yourself through it. That version of you exists, you guys, but it requires a decision. And it requires taking care of you. Type 2026 in the chat if that's what you're looking for. Yeah, Nikki, you're on. Anybody else? If you're sitting here and you're thinking, I need a real plan, let me tell you, because that's what exactly you need. Because without a plan, your body will continue to break down muscle to survive. Its protein is going to remain inconsistent. You're not going to nourish your body the way you should. Your metabolism is going to keep adapting downward. Your risk for chronic disease is going to continue to rise. Remember what I said, 95% of people in the US have one chronic disease, 79% two. But the most dangerous place you can find yourself is uninformed, unsupported, and without a plan. I'm not here to be liked today. I love all of you, but I want you to feel like the healthiest version of you, where you are free of pain, discomfort, and living in that body that you love every single day. Not just for special occasions, not just for the holidays, not just into the new year. You see, I sit at the clinic every single day, day in and day out, and I see people with chronic disease and how they're suffering. I saw a young girl in my office yesterday who's cutting, 20 years old. We have the highest suicide rate of 20-year-olds that we've ever had in my lifetime. It's chronic disease. What are we feeding ourselves? You don't have to suffer. I don't want you to suffer. And you know what? The truth is that this is 100% preventable because I'm here to protect your future. If you leave this live and you say to yourself, that with I'm coughing for you. Excuse me. I get worked up for you. That was interesting. And you do nothing. Guess what? Your body's going to keep doing exactly what it's been doing. I don't want that for you guys. Can you drop my calendar link again in the chat? So if you're serious about changing the trajectory of your health, not next month, not after the holidays, not when life comes down, but right now, I'm going to say this to you again. This matters. And confused minds, they don't act. Unsupported people, they fall off track and get sick. And waiting for things to be in balance for you to stop getting healthy, it costs you the very thing that you're trying to protect. Your health is your biggest asset. I'm crying for you guys. Your health is your biggest asset. You only have one body and one life. I hope I made a difference and touched it somehow today because that's my goal. I am committed to healing chronic disease. I am committed so that you get to wake up every morning and live in a body that you love. Before we close, I want to hear from you. What was your biggest aha moment or even mic drop that you had today from the masterclass? Please drop it in the chat because that really helps me with feedback for you because I'm here to support you. There's many other things I could be doing tonight, but I want to help you. Get onto my calendar. Let's get started and figure out where do you need support because you cannot do this alone. You want to get in rooms with other people that are doing the things that you want to do and the way of being that you want to create because this is your health legacy. So if you can take a minute and drop in the chat, what was the aha moment for you today? What really stood out for you? There's no judgment here. It's helpful for you and it's helpful for everybody that I treat. I run a full-time clinic, you guys. I'm here to support you. Exactly. Don't wait. Right now is the moment that you get to change the trajectory of your health. This moment right now. Anybody else can share some feedback for me, for the team? Yeah, great. Different types of protein and how much I need to tighten up my diet. You guys, I don't want you to be in a diet mentality anymore. I want you to be in a nutritional, and I will tell you that many of you are not eating enough food. Many of you are trying to eat 1,200 calories a day. And then if you're burning 500 throughout the day, you're really only living on 700. So you are 100% starving your body. I'm not judging you. It's just happening. Our body starts with the nourishment that we give it, whether it's mental nourishment, spiritual nourishment, or actual physical food nourishment. It's so important to get this in check to heal yourself. It's not about just working with anyone to wing it. I have many people come into my clinic and they're like, I worked with a dietitian, I worked with a nutritionist, and it just didn't help me. Is that true? Did it not help them? Or did they not follow through with it? Did they just decide it was too hard? What's easier, to be sick or be well? I said to my nephew not too long ago, because he hasn't been getting his blood lab results done, and I said, what is one thing that a sick person dreams of? Being well. I don't want you to get there. Like cancer is everywhere. Chronic disease is everywhere. Your health is your legacy, you guys. And legacies are really built on one decisive moment at a time, one decisive action, not by waiting. The message is don't wait. If you are ready to stop guessing and you want a protein strategy that can help you stop the sugar cravings, stop the exhaustion, stop the food noise, design for you. Because what works for you doesn't work for me. What works for somebody else that's on this live or listening to this is not going to work for them. It's your body, your metabolism, and your lifestyle. Don't hesitate to book a call with me and let's build it together. We're closing out closely to the end of the year. I don't have a lot of time left. My team called me last night and they were looking at my calendar, and you know what I did? I opened some time for you guys because I want to see you get healthy. Are there any other quick questions? Fantastic. I can't wait to see you, Nikki. I can't wait to change the trajectory of your health. I'm honored. And I'm honored that anybody that I get to meet and talk to is important. I don't want your health to wait. I have nurses, I have lawyers, I have executives, I have high performers. They need help too. In fact, we were thinking about changing some of the courses to executive health. You are the CEO of your body, and if you don't make a change, nobody's going to make it for you. And I hear all this like, I have genetics, it's because of my genes, I have diabetes, maybe type 1, I'm talking type 2 here. It's genetic. I think most of this stuff is epigenetic because I've seen people heal every day. Before we jump off, I have 3 minutes. Is there one or two questions that I can answer? I typically don't do questions. I typically prefer to connect with you guys on a calendar. I think my calendar is pretty much seen in there. Is there any questions before I jump off that I can answer for you? It's hard for me to remain quiet when I have so much passion for you guys to heal. I I just can't tell you what it's like to live inside a body that I love every day. I was severely depressed as my teenager into my 20s, and that's why I do what I do. Okay, no questions? All right. With the bottom of my heart, from the bottom of my heart, fasting, it all depends. I do not suggest fasting if you don't have a healthy metabolism. If your hormones, if you're stressed out, I don't suggest fasting. So it just depends. I also don't give hormones right away either, right? So you want to know where you're at. So that's a really good question because fasting is everywhere. It's not that I don't ever recommend it. It's based on, again, I work with you based on where you're at, Jennifer, like where you're at in your health. So if you're exhausted, fatigued, burnt out, like your blood sugar's all over the place, then fasting is probably just going to do that. But that's like a really hard question to answer because we do know fasting is good for cancers, water fasting, like it kind of, again, it's going to go back to what I'm going to say. It's going to depend on you as an individual. It's going to depend on how you work as an individual. Does that make sense? All right. I believe it's Monday at 11 a.m. Is that right? Do we have that Monday at 11 a.m.? I'll see you guys Monday at 11 a.m. The future ones are going to be more holiday. You're welcome. My pleasure. Glad to answer. Glad to support you. They're going to be more holiday driven, but they're going to still be supportive, you guys. They're going to be supportive of your health. There's a reason why I know you're seeing me as Dr. Holly Donahue, but there's a reason why my company's called Simple Health. I was just talking to my team about this the other day because health does not need to be difficult. It really doesn't. We make it super difficult. We make it difficult with pharmaceuticals, with medications. We make it difficult. It gets to be easy, and that's what I want to do for you. So I'm going to sign off now. I'm sending you guys love. Have a beautiful, beautiful. Actually, tomorrow I'm going live. I'm sorry. It's tomorrow at 11 a.m. and then Monday. Oh my gosh, I'm going to be here tomorrow. So if you guys are available tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a blessed evening. Merry Christmas, happy holidays, happy Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate.